What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, Talk with Beers, episode 138. And on today's episode, we're talking about everything Bowl Mania, college football postseason. Yes, postseason has started. This is the final week of the regular season. We got Army Navy this week. Plus, we actually have a few bowl games starting on Saturday. So we had to get this episode as quickly as possible. This is Wednesday night. So honestly, anything could change between here and when these bowl games start. But we wanted to make sure we had all the bowl games picked for me and my guests. But before we get into the games, let's introduce the guests. We got Keenan, George, and the podcast dad back for this episode. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Appreciate you
What's
guys
good?
helping
What's
me
good?
out.
What's poppin'?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode. We're going to talk about all the bowl games. Then we're going to save the last couple of bowl games and college football playoffs for the very end. So it should be a very packed episode. A lot of stuff to talk about. Yes, there's going to be some teams we're going to breeze over because who cares about some of these teams that are playing against each other. But overall, we're going to give out some pretty good picks, some good reasons why. So going to be a long episode. So let's get straight into it. We'll start off with the first bowl game. It is the Cricket Celebration Bowl, Jackson State and South Carolina State. Keenan, what's your pick for this one?
Give me Dion's old stomping grounds. I'll take Jackson State for sure.
All right, Dad.
Jackson State as well.
George.
Jackson State.
Yeah, clean sweep. I can't say the graphic there. We got all Jackson State there. We head to the Veterans Bowl. We got South Alabama versus Western Michigan. Keenan.
Oh, to be honest, I know nothing about either of these schools, but I will take Southern Alabama just
All right.
because they have the point favorite. So give me Southern Alabama.
All right, Dad.
You know what? The Broncos are usually tough sometimes. You know, they have some seasons where they're good and bad, but I haven't heard about them recently, so I'm going with South Alabama.
George.
South Alabama, I guess.
Yeah, I got South Alabama too. I mean, there's not much more to talk about. I mean, Western Michigan does not have that great of a season this year. They're just bowl eligible. So we'll move on. The Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. We got the 25th ranked Memphis Tigers versus West Virginia. Keenan started off.
Honestly, Memphis is hella slept on this year. I do think they have a lot to prove and being ranked in like the last couple of weeks of the season. So I think this is a good time for them to, show out and be ranked going into the next season next year. So give me Memphis.
All right, Dad.
You know what? On this one, I want to go with West Virginia.
Mountain Mama. George, take it away.
Um, Give me, I'll say Memphis.
Memphis. Did you even write these down? It sounds like you're just looking at it for the first time right now.
I have it up on my computer. I'm just looking at it as we go.
Okay. All right. I like what Keenan said a lot. I think Memphis has been a little bit slept on, especially being in that American Conference. Not even one of the best American Conference teams when we have Army and Navy in there all season long. So I got Memphis as well. West Virginia does not have a head coach as of right now. They might have an interim head coach for this game. So I likely would not expect them to just be ready for this game. So I got the Tigers winning this one. Then we got the Boca Raton Bowl. This is Western Kentucky versus James Madison. Keenan, what you got?
I got Western Kentucky. They're second in the Conference USA, and honestly, they've had a very up and down season. They kept things pretty close against Liberty back at the beginning of the year. Kind of got stomped by Jackson State, which was Jacksonville State, which was a kind of a questionable game. But I do think they're still pretty good, and I think they'll win against James Madison.
All right, Dad.
I actually got James Madison on this one. So
Okay, George.
James Madison.
Yeah, I got the Dukes as well. I mean, I love what you said, Keenan. Hilltoppers, they got some great uniforms, but James Madison has been tough all season long, last 2 years. I got the Dukes winning this one. We got the Art of Sport LA Bowl. This is Cal versus number 24 ranked UNLV. Keenan started off.
This should be easy. Honestly, Cal's not very good at all. They've been kind of up and down, but UNLV has been really good. So they had an unfortunate loss last week, but I still think they pulled through and will be ranked next season. So give me UNLV.
All right, Dad.
I'm not a big UNLV fan, so on this one I'm going with Cal. They had they lost some tough games towards the end of the season there, played Miami tough. I think they're going to build on that and go into this bowl game with some momentum. I got Cal.
All right, George.
UNLV.
I got Cal as well. I got to root for the Pac-12 schools, the ex-Pac-12 schools. Got to kind of rally for them a little bit there. UNLV is not going to have a head coach as well. Their head coach took the job. Can't remember where. I'll pop it up here. But he took the job somewhere else, so they're not going to have a head coach for that game. Cal, Jaden Ott, shout out him. Went to high school with him. Outstanding running back as long as he's healthy and is going to play that game. Cal should get that win there. RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. This is Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston. Keenan, start it off.
Georgia Southern. I got a couple homeboys who play on that team. Georgia native. So yeah, give me Georgia Southern.
All right, Dad.
Yep, I'm with Keenan on that one. Georgia Southern as well.
George.
Give me the Eagles. Hail Southern.
Yeah, same thing
Hail
here.
Southern.
Yep, clean sweep for the Eagles. Then we got the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. This is Ohio versus Jacksonville State. Keenan, start it off.
Ohio. That's I think that's the easy one. They're not very good, but I don't think Jacksonville State is all that good either.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, Bobcats from Ohio.
Hell
That's
yeah.
what yeah.
George.
Go with the Bobcats.
Yeah, same thing here. I got Ohio. Bobcats coming off a big win against the Red Hawks in the championship game. I think they keep on rolling. Go Bobcats. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. This is Tulane versus Florida. Florida opens up as a 13-point favorite against Tulane. But Keenan, what do you got?
To be honest, I've been very on the fence about this pick. But I think Florida will pull it off, but I wouldn't say it's going to be an easy game for Florida. Tulane has had a lot to prove all year, and I do think they do give Florida a run for their money.
All right, Dad.
What's the name of this bowl again? Is it the Disappointment Bowl? Because I think that's what it should be called. Florida, kind of a tough season. Tulane losing the Army at the end, in the championship for their conference. I don't know. I'm going with Florida on this one. I think Tulane, had the big letdown last week, so I think I got Florida winning it.
All right, George, what do you got?
You see what I got on right now, Miles? You see what I
I
got
do.
on? Man, I can't
SEC.
say,
You're an
I
SEC
can't,
fan.
but I can't go with the Gators. We hate them. Y'all can give me Tulane.
For me, I got Florida. They ended off the season really well. Tulane, as you said, Dad, has not ended off the season well. Their starting quarterback should not be playing this. He's in the transfer portal, so I think that's gonna be a big setback for the Green Wave, who's already been struggling the last couple of games. So I got the Gators here, and I think that 13-point point spread there is definitely gonna hit. So I got the Gators winning big. Then we got the Myrtle Beach Bowl. This is Coastal Carolina versus UTSA. What do you got, Keenan?
This should be a free win for Coastal Carolina. The Myrtle Beach Bowl in Conway, South Carolina. Coastal Carolina is in Myrtle Beach. There's no way they lose this game. It's going to be a home game for them. So I got them.
Dad, what do you got?
I got the Coastal Carolina as well. Was it Chanticleers?
Yeah, go shots.
Yeah.
George.
Coastal Carolina, they got home field, like Keenan said. That's just a given. Gotta go with Coastal Carolina here.
Yep. Right now Vegas has UTSA at -8, but this is a bowl game in their backyard. You got to go Coastal Carolina as well. So I got clean sweep with you guys. Coastal Carolina. The famous Idaho Bowl, Idaho Potato Bowl, excuse me. Northern Illinois and Fresno State. What do you got, Keenan?
I'll take Fresno.
All right, Dad.
No real reason on that. I just like Fresno.
I usually like Fresno State. They had that attitude that I always had that any team, any place, anywhere, right? And they'd schedule all kinds of tough games. But I don't know. I think Northern Illinois, the giant killers, up there from that are gonna take this one. I think I got Northern Illinois beating them.
All right, George.
I'll go with NIU as well.
I
Ooh,
actually, I'm gonna switch. This is the infamous NIU that stomped on Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, if we're not mistaken.
yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's give me Northern Illinois.
Ah, jeez.
Look
Come
at that. We
on,
made we made
man.
such a good argument, George. Keenan had to switch on over.
Man, I thought I was gonna have a split here. I got Fresno State. This is a very close game for them. Northern Illinois is gonna be a long travel for them. Fresno State really close proximity wise. I got the Bulldogs. I mean, the Bulldogs have not been all that great in the Mountain West. They haven't been one of the top dogs like normal. NIU, as you guys already mentioned, they beat Notre Dame earlier in the year. Really have not done anything since that win though. So I'm going with the Bulldogs in this one. The Hawaii Bowl, we got South Florida and San Jose State. Keenan, who you got?
This is gonna be an interesting game. I got San Jose State only because South Florida being in Tampa, that's gonna be like a 2 day travel day for them. There's no way they spin it around and play well. So San Jose State being relatively very close over South Florida, give me San Jose State easy.
All right, Dad.
You know what, Keenan? I was gonna make that same argument. San Jose State has a shorter flight to Hawaii. I'm going with them. They should be more well rested.
George.
San Jose State.
I'm rolling with you guys. Same exact reasons. The travel day is going to kill the Bulls. I got the Spartans. All right. Game above Sports Bowl. Pitt versus Toledo. Keenan, who you got?
Pitt. Pitt had a really good game against Clemson 3 weeks ago, I think that was. And honestly, they should have won that game. There's no way Cade Klubnik or whatever his name is came out on top in that game, but they couldn't do anything. The Pitt defense is really good. So yeah, give me Pitt.
All right, Dad.
You got to go with Toledo. I mean, it's just about a home game for them. They're playing in Detroit, 45-minute drive up from
The
Toledo.
Glass Bowl,
I've
baby.
got the Rockets going. Yeah, the Glass Bowl. We've been there, stepped on that field.
Yeah, gate was wide open. You got to take that
Yeah, if you
advantage.
go in the summertime, it's wide open. You just walk on the field.
I think we could have taken some cleats too. There was some cleats left on the field as well. All right, George, who you got?
Give me the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, I mean,
Round.
I want to take Toledo. Obviously, if you guys know who I am, born in Toledo, was only there for like 9-10 months. It's the only reason why I'm an Ohio State fan. Just throwing that out there for you guys that do not know that. But it's hard for me to go against the Rockets. But I think Pitt is a really good 7-5 team. They started off the year what 6-0, 5-0 for sure, 5-1 area. And they had a run at the ACC title game. Obviously not the end of the season, but they were making a run for it with Miami as well. So I think Pitt had a disappointing end of the year, but I think they go out on top with a win here. So I got the Pitt Panthers. And we'll move on to the Rate Bowl. This is Rutgers versus Kansas State. Keenan, who you got?
I got K State. Um, uh, ASU pieced them apart. Doesn't mean that they're still not a good team. I like that light skinned quarterback that they have. Or no, he's a white dude with curly hair.
Yeah,
Very
Avery
interesting quarterback.
Johnson.
Yeah. No, he's pretty good though, so I got him.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, you can't go against that salad that he's got going on there, right? I got K-State.
George.
K State.
Yeah, same here. I don't think Rutgers is really a relevant school when it comes to football, so I got K-State as well. The 68 Ventures Bowl. This is Arkansas State and Bowling Green. Keenan, who you got?
I got Bowling Green.
All right. Dad.
Same thing, Bowling Green.
George.
Bowling Green.
I got Arkansas State. Close proximity. That the bowl game is in Alabama. Arkansas is not that far from there. So I got the Wolf Pack. Wolf Pack, I think. The Red Wolves. Red Wolves.
Red
Think of the
Wolves, Red Wolves.
Yeah.
So I got Arkansas State in this one over the Eagles. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Jesus Christ. What happened to the names of these bowl games, man? That is Oklahoma versus Navy. Keenan, who you got?
Navy's had a really good year. I don't agree with their ranking. I'm not gonna lie. They've had like the most cupcake schedule. But Oklahoma has had a very, very disappointing year. It's the first time in their SEC. I thought they were gonna be like Texas and running for SEC title. They did beat Bama, but Bama's not Bama, so give me Navy.
All right, Dad.
Um, on that one, let me think here. Oh, this is we said is the Oklahoma game?
Oklahoma Navy.
They're all bad, but I think Oklahoma is less bad. Navy can't score. All they do is run. I think Oklahoma should be able to stop that.
All right. Yeah, I got oh, sorry, George. My bad. Go, George.
Um,
Out of
give
order there.
me give me Oklahoma because I guess Oklahoma going down to Texas, not that far of a drive or a trip. I think Oklahoma can take it.
You think they took the bus? They have to make them bus it now since they're so far down the list.
They might.
That's still a far drive, no?
Oh, it's not that far.
Fort Worth
Oh,
to
yeah, Fort Worth to from
What city is
Stillwater?
They're
No,
in
not
Norman,
Stillwater. Norman. Yeah,
Stillwater. Come
Can't
on.
be that
my
long.
bad.
oh no, it's not bad. 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they're
easy.
probably
That's
saving money. Yeah, they're taking the bus.
got you.
They're probably same day travel too.
Yeah.
For me, I
Or-
got Navy. I've actually been really
Oh,
impressed by Navy all season long. I think they give Army a run for their money in in their championship game. Their biggest rivalry game. What it should be a week of just Army and Navy is not this year, which is a shame. But I think Navy does a really good game against Army. Whether they win that or not, I don't think so. But I think they make a good run for their money. They end the season off strong against a good Oklahoma team, at least a middle of the pack Oklahoma team. So I got Navy winning this one. Go USA. Birmingham Bowl. We got Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. This is actually a really good game to circle here. But Keenan, who you got?
yeah, I'm actually gonna watch this game. Um, I got Haynes King. Haynes King gave my dogs, a run for their money. I don't think we should have won that game, but we did pull it off. And yeah, so I got Tech beating Vandy.
All right, Dad.
I've got. I mean, Georgia Tech started the season off really well, right? Um, out in. But I've got Vanderbilt beating them. I mean, they're sort of hot and cold on what they do. You know, they show up sometimes and not. But I like Vanderbilt.
All right, George.
First off, just want to say, shout out Pops. He went to Tech. I'm picking Tech because they scared the utter shit out of me when we played them. I was in that 8 overtimes game. I couldn't comprehend what was going on. I think Haynes King just gonna go crazy against Vandy. Give me Tech.
All right, and I think this is actually a coin flip game. I think both teams have really good resumes this year, and kind of not expected from a team like Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt pretty much owning a lot of the scary games, upset games as well. They own Alabama, they own Auburn, so they own the state of Alabama. This game's being played in Alabama. I got Vanderbilt. Yes, Georgia Tech is coming off a good win against, or a close game against Georgia. Should have been a win in my books. Seemed like they did not have enough plays in the playbook to run a couple 2-point conversions near the end of the game. But defense honestly kept them in that game a little bit lackluster in the second half of that one. But overall, a very good game by Tech. I think this is a really good game, one of the better ones that we have to pick here. But I got Vanderbilt. I think that they own the state of Alabama, and I think they get one more win in the state of Alabama. The
Yeah.
AutoZone Liberty Bowl. This is Texas Tech and Arkansas. Keenan started off. Oh, Red Raiders.
Yeah, give me the Red Raiders. They gave ASU a big run for the money. Actually, they beat us.
Beat 'em.
Did.
They
Yeah.
did beat us. Yeah. Honestly,
They
we
must
could
be
have won that
really
game
good
with a
then.
really, really bad penalty at the end of the game. Self-inflicted, of course, but yeah, I think Texas Tech gets it done against Arkansas.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I got Texas Tech. You know, you got to stay in conference there. You know, they've. I mean, they were up at the top of the standings for most of the season there until they dropped off at the end. But Texas Tech.
What do you got, George?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we all picked Tech, but I'm also not surprised now that how we're talking about Taj Brooks, one of the best running backs in the conference of the Big 12, will be in that game, I believe. And I think the Red Raiders do get that game against the Razorbacks. So I got Tech winning as well. DirecTV Holiday Bowl. This is the 21 ranked Syracuse Orange versus Wazoo, Washington State. Keenan, who you got?
Give me the orange. I want the orange. I was actually very surprised. Washington State, they came off a really, really good year last year, and I was expecting them to ride that wave into this year. Not really much of that happened. and Syracuse has been very surprising. Kept things close against actually the run of Cade Klubnik that I was thinking about was against Syracuse. But yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, I think Syracuse is going to pull that off.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I got Syracuse. You know, they kind of got hot at the right time of year. You know, so they're good late, and I see them taking the win in that game.
All right, George. So we can get
Mhm.
you back to bed because you keep yawning over there.
No, no. Give me Syracuse.
For me, I got Washington State. Washington State, yes, has not been all that great this year, but they still got a winning record. They still got pretty much, they did what they could with the conference situation and scheduling situation that they had. A lot of drama when it came to Washington State and Oregon State this year. I think they finished off the season strong. Syracuse, yes, is a very good team, but I think they're going to come in overhyped. So I got the Cougars winning this one. Then we got the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. This is Texas A&M versus USC. Another good blue blood battle there. Keenan, who you got?
I got TAMU. They've had a really good year. And the CC had a really, really tough schedule, and they're just not quite there. But I still think they have a really good team and will play very well against USC.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I like A&M. You know, they've been had a decent year, not a good year. USC, was disappointing all year long. But I just can't root against SC. I mean, I've been a fan for forever with them, so I'm picking SC.
Before we get to George, is Texas A&M ever have a good year? I mean, aren't they always a mediocre 7-5, 8-14?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part.
All right. We're all on the same
But
page there.
they do
But
play
they have the
like
12th man.
Yeah, like that helps. Does that get you
they
4
need
more wins?
13.
No.
They need 13. That's actually all right, George, who's your pick?
Give me the Aggies.
I want to say Texas A&M. I feel like they should. USC's already won at this stadium earlier in the year. They beat LSU, who was going to be a big
Oh,
powerhouse in this conference earlier in the season. Ended up being a pretty good team in the end. Did fall off the last couple of weeks. So I think USC goes back to Las Vegas, gets another win, and they fight on 7-6. Lincoln Riley keeps his job, and Vincent cries. Shout out cousin Vincent right there. Then we got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. This is UConn versus North Carolina. Keenan, who you got?
UConn is not a football school. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, North Carolina's gonna get this easy dub with Bill Belichick in attendance. Shout out Big Bill.
Oh my gosh.
Big Bill will be in attendance. I know he lives 5 minutes from Boston, so he's definitely gonna be there.
I love
Give
it,
me
Dad.
UNC.
So do you think North Carolina is actually like they're like showing off for Belichick? Like, hey, come here. This is like like their interview, sort of.
It's got to. I mean,
I mean, he already saw it in the
this
dotted
happened.
line.
Yeah, I was about to say this happened before he signed. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I got North Carolina.
George.
You in the Tar Heels. I mean, like Keenan said, Belichick being in attendance, I feel that's gonna tell those guys, hey, coach coming in to watch. We gotta put on a show.
Yeah, I think that's a great reason behind it too. And yet again, UConn should stick to basketball. They're a good, good
Wait,
football
wait,
school, but they're not.
are you saying North Carolina's not a basketball school?
They are a basketball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, they're
are.
definitely
Both
not.
of
They're
these
not a
are like
football school.
non-football schools here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true. It's
this is
true.
a basketball duke out in just the wrong sport.
All right, so I'll say it comes down to a couple free throws at the end. North Carolina does get the win though. All right, the Bad Boys Mower Pinstripes Bowl, Boston College versus Nebraska. Dad, I already know your pick. We're gonna get to you in a second though. Keenan, start it off.
I got Patty Mahomes Jr. He is a true freshman. I thought he was gonna have a much better year. Actually, very, very early in the year, I said that Nebraska was going to be the 12th team in. Crazy hot take, but obviously they are not the
Dad,
12th team in. So here we go.
Mui Mall, very bad pick right there. Dad.
Go Big Red. Come on.
Jesus.
For my buddy Darren. We
Yeah, I
gotta go
know.
with
Shout out Darren. Shout out Darren.
Rayola's gonna take him to the promised land there.
Give him 2 years. Give him
this is
2
gonna be the
years.
next win on a series of big wins for them.
Oh, jeez. That's what we say when they beat like a nobody school out of like the
You
Sun
know what?
Belt.
Even though that game is only gonna be like what 2 hours from Boston, that whole thing will be red. Nebraska travels well.
They got nothing else to do.
They don't. There's nothing else in Nebraska.
Pick corn.
That's it. That's all they got. Corn and football. George, who's your pick?
Give me the Cornhuskers, man.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It hurts me. I do not like Nebraska. It pains me to pick them. But BC is not that great this year. They also will not have Castellanos, their quarterback, in the game. He hit the transfer portal, so he will be out. So I think that's going to hurt the Eagles in this one. I got Raiola and the Cornhuskers winning that game. All right, then we had the New Mexico Bowl. It's Louisiana versus TCU. Keenan, start it off.
Honestly, two disappointing teams. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna take Louisiana. TCU does not get it done.
The Raging Cajun. All right, Dad.
I'm gonna take TCU and their boring new uniforms.
Yeah, those are bad. George.
Louisiana.
I got the Frogs. Shout out to the Van Zants and Cooks. But I got the Frogs in this one. Got to run with the Big 12 as well there. All right, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We got the number 18 ranked Iowa State Cyclones versus number 13 ranked Miami Hurricanes. This is actually our first ranked on ranked matchup here. Keenan, what you got?
I got Miami. I got Mr. Nonchalant. Kind of disappointing end
This guy.
for the year. I'm not gonna lie, but he's still a good quarterback, and he will go top 10 in the draft for sure. Mr.
Right.
Cam Ward.
Dad.
Yeah, he'll be fresh off his invite to New York, huh?
Yeah, that is yeah.
I've got just so you can say right now, I've got the next two Miamis as my pick. So
Oh wow, saving us some time there.
yeah. Miami
Right.
versus Miami.
All right, George, what do you got?
Give me the nonchalant quarterback. Cam Ward going to run over Iowa State.
Nonchalant. Is he from Norway? Or Sweden? They Swedes? That's for Jill.
Shout out, Jill. Shout out Whittier College too. All those Swedes that are in attendance at that school. It's crazy. For me, I got Miami. Now we could look at Miami as a potential should have been in the playoff team, should be ranked higher than they are right now. For me, I think if you lose too late, it's not worth being in the playoffs. So I think they're in the right spot. I think they should be above Alabama though. But I think them missing the playoffs, unfortunately, is the correct choice. But regardless, Miami's going to go out, going to prove that they should not be left out of the playoffs. I think they're going out and they're going to plummet the Cyclones there. Rocco Beck did not play that bad of a first half against Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game, but overall, him and that offense just was not clicking. Are they able to figure it out against a really bad defensive Miami team? Maybe. It may be a 45-42 ending to this one, but I think Cam Ward and the Hurricanes get it done. So I got the Hurricanes. All right, we'll move on to the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Miami of Ohio versus Colorado State. Keenan, who you got?
I'm gonna say Colorado State. Big, tough, rowdy defense, and yeah, I think they'll get it done.
All right, Dad, you already picked Miami of Ohio. George, who you got?
Colorado State.
Yeah, I got Colorado State as well. I think the Rams have actually a really good underrated season this year. They actually should have beat a lot more teams than they should have. I think they're 8-4 now to end on the year. I just feel bad for both these teams though, because who wants to go down to Tucson on December 28th to end your season? Not me. So I feel bad for both these teams. I think it's a lose-lose regardless, but I think Colorado does leave with a smile on their face. The Go Bowling Military Bowl. This is East Carolina versus NC State. Keenan, who you got?
This is an easy pick for me. I'm going to take NC State. East Carolina is not really a football school.
All right, Dad.
Oh, I've got the Pirates from East Carolina.
All right, George.
Two Carolina teams going to a bowl game. Just give me NC State. I feel like they're gonna come out of there with a win.
Yeah, talking about bad picks from earlier with the Nebraska pick for you, Keenan. I picked NC State at the beginning of the season to win the ACC. And we all know how that happened. 6-6, did not play well, did not play well against good teams, did not play well against bad teams. They lost their quarterback halfway through the season, and he retired because of injuries. So NC State does not look like they're a very good team. But honestly, neither are the Pirates of East Carolina. So I got the Wolfpack. Run it up one more time for my Wolfpack there. They finished out the season above 600 or 500, excuse me. The Valero Alamo Bowl. This is the 17th ranked BYU Cougars versus the 23 ranked Colorado Buffaloes. Keenan, who you got?
This is Shador's and Travis Hunter's last hurrah. I definitely think they will both suit up in this game. This is going to be a shootout. Very disappointed in BYU's last couple of weeks. It's been a shit storm for them. But I do think Colorado is going to pull it out for sure.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, BYU hadn't, been that strong, towards the end of the season there. Won some games that they shouldn't have, got lucky on a few. But honestly, I don't think Colorado's going to show up, with as much hype as they, tried to make all year for their guys. And then I think this kind of bowl I think they probably feel like it's sort of beneath them. I don't think they're going to show up. So I got BYU.
All right, George.
Give them the Buffs.
For me, I've been going back and forth. I understand what you said, Dad, about Colorado feeling like they kind of shouldn't be there, don't really want to show up for that. Keenan, you make a good point about potentially not having Hunter and Shador, but you're saying that they're both going to be there. I personally do not think they're both going to be there. If they are there, I think Colorado wins this game. If they don't, I think BYU wins this game. But for my official pick, I got Colorado. I think they'll just edge them by a little bit, but I'm also banking on Shador and Travis both playing in that game, which personally, I do not think that's going to happen, but only time will tell at this rate. Then we got the Independence Bowl. We got Marshall versus 22 ranked Army. Keenan, who you got?
I got Army. Army's had a really, really good year. Similar to Navy. Still have a cupcake schedule, but I don't think that should take away from the year that they're having. And so, yeah, I think Army's going to get it done.
All right, Dad.
Army, they should have been in the college football playoffs. Come on.
Whoa.
11-1.
Wow.
No respect for the.
Hey, no respect. I
Army.
will agree with that. No respect there for the Army.
So I have them winning this game. They're gonna have like 300 yards rushing and like maybe 2 yards passing.
All right, George.
Take the Army.
Yeah, Marshall's coming off a really big win in their conference championship game against Louisiana, 131-3. So they absolutely blew out the Raging Cajun. I think that's their last win of the season. I think Army wins this one. They come off a big win against Tulane. They're going to go off a win against Navy this upcoming weekend, and then they're going to go into the final game of the season with another win. So what? They're going to finish out the season with 12 or 13 wins on the season for a team like Army. Unreal. Great season by the Knights there. I think they ended off very well, and they start the next season ranked in the top 25 as well. All right, the TransPerfect Music City Bowl. We got Iowa versus number 19 ranked Missouri. Keenan, who you got?
I got Mizzou. Surprising to see all the teams ranked, all the not no name, but like the small ranked schools.
No names.
Yeah, no name schools in the SEC duking it out. So I think Missouri will definitely come through.
All right, Dad.
We got Missouri as well, right with them.
George.
Picking the Tigers here for this one.
Yeah, no Cade McNamara. So what does that mean for the offense of Iowa? Probably not going to show up like normal. So it's going to be a punting game for them. Missouri bit me in the ass earlier in the season. I said that they had a great chance to go about 7 or 8-0. I think they were close. They may have actually hit that 7-0 mark. But obviously did not end the season off well. They looked really bad, even in their wins against teams like Vanderbilt and things like that. And that game against Auburn should not have been as close as it was. This is my last time I'll pick Missouri for the season. So obviously I'll take them because I was running with them so big at the start of the year. But the Tigers did hurt me big time this season. So I'm going to hold a grudge over that for next season during our preseason picks. So just remember that, Mizzou. Reality Quest Bowl. We got number 11, Alabama versus Michigan. Keenan, who you got?
First off, I think this game should be called the Shit Fest Bowl. Very disappointing year for both of these programs. No, I do not think Alabama should have made it. Uh, Disappointing, like just crazy season. Michigan, I have no words. I've always said Michigan was ass, um, and they just showed their ass this year. So I do think Alabama will get through this game, even though Michigan's defense did play amazing against Ohio State. But I do think Alabama will win it out.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, Michigan had a good game against Ohio State, but Alabama should just run all over them. Shouldn't even be close.
George.
Alabama, I guess. Both these teams just disappointed everybody, but I'll just pick Alabama, I guess.
I'm surprised that both these teams are facing each other, to be honest. Michigan's not very good at all this year. What, they're 7-5 to end off the regular season. Alabama's 9-3. They're ranked 11th. Michigan's hasn't been ranked since I think week 3 or 4 of the regular season. I don't even know how they're in the same bowl game here. I think Alabama stops them. I'm gonna say probably by 20, to be honest, if we're being real here. So clean sweep for Alabama for all 4 of us. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. This is Louisville versus Washington. Keenan, who you got?
I got Louisville. Kind of been very quiet in the ACC. They did finish off 8-4, and yeah, I don't think they did have a bad year. 8-4 was pretty good. So yeah, I got Louisville.
All right, Dad.
I'm going to stick with the old Pac-12s. I'm going with Washington on this one.
George, put that yawn away. But who you got?
Louisville.
Louisville. All right, I got Washington as well, Dad. Shout out Cameron Warchuk. He's long snapper for the team. Went to high school with him. Good friends with him still. I think this is gonna be a very nice farewell game for you because you're a senior. You're gonna get a big win out in the Sun Bowl. So I think I got the Huskies in this game. The Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl and number 15 ranked South Carolina versus number 20 Illinois. Keenan, who you got?
I got the Fighting Illinois. Yeah, I don't know. Some people were saying give South Carolina a chance in the playoff. I didn't. I don't understand. No, just no. But yeah, I got the Fighting Illinois.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, everyone was talking about South Carolina. They should be in over, Alabama, more consideration and all this. But I'm picking Illinois, and I hope they wear those throwback jerseys with the leather-looking helmets.
Yes, those are tough.
Those are clean.
Are tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, George, who you got?
Going with the Gamecocks.
Okay. Definitely saved the graphic because I thought I was going to be the only one to pick Illinois, but I got Illinois in this one as well. South Carolina, as you guys both said, I do not think should be in the playoffs, should not be consideration there. They are better than Ole Miss in my book, but Ole Miss did beat them early in the year. So if you use that logic, that's the reason why they're ranked higher than them. South Carolina finished out the season really well. I think overall they're going to be very happy with their season, regardless of what happens in this game. But a win in this game definitely will make it a little cherry on top with how good that end of the season was for the Gamecocks. But I got Illinois. I think they kind of spoiled that. But both teams walk away from this bowl game very happy in what they did the year. All right, the Kinders Texas Bowl, Baylor versus LSU. Keenan, who you got?
Ooh, this is going to be an underrated, a very good game. Baylor actually did not have a bad year at all. For those of you who don't know, they actually did finish 5th in the Big 12.
Which was a very compact conference at the end, which was still actually a chance to get to the conference championship game. So 5th, even though it doesn't sound good, is actually very good for that conference.
It is very good. They finished the year on a 6-game win streak. And right in Texas. So not too far of a drive for them. I do think they will pull it off against LSU.
All right, Dad.
I haven't really watched either of these teams much. ASU didn't play Baylor this year, so I really didn't catch any of their games. But just going off history, I'm gonna go with LSU.
What history are you looking at?
Just
Shitters.
the history of them being pretty
Damn.
good.
Damn.
Okay. George, you got.
Give me Baylor.
Yeah, I got the Bears as well. This is not a big game, but if you want to consider it a big game, then that means Brian Kelly's going to lose this game. So I got the Bears in this one. Then we got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Keenan. We got Duke and number 14 ranked Old Miss.
Give me Ole Miss. Shit, I don't even know why this is even a game. This shouldn't even be a close game whatsoever. But yeah, Ole Miss for sure.
I feel like we should swap Michigan and Ole Miss and put those two together. I'd rather see an SEC Alabama Ole Miss game against
That'd be
Duke and
fun.
Michigan than watch those two separate games. But I
I
digress.
agree.
Dad, who you got?
I've got Ole Miss on this one. It's not a important game, so Kiffin should win it.
All right, George.
Picking the Rebels.
Yeah, easy choice. Rebels for me as well. All right, the First Responders Bowl. We got North Texas and Texas State. Keenan, who you got?
Got Texas State. Texas State was a honestly, I as an ASU fan, I do not think we should have won that game, but um, very good school at football for sure. So I got Texas State for sure.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, Texas State is just on how they played us tough this year. That's the only reason.
George.
Picking the Bobcats, Texas State.
Yeah, got the Bobcats too. That offense actually really good on the year. They came into that game against Arizona State week 2 as potential Boise State kind of team. The last team in, going to be that group of 5 conference champion. Ended up not being the case for the Bobcats, but I think that's not going to slow them down. I think they take care of business against the Mean Green in North Texas. We got the Duke's Mayo Bowl, Minnesota versus Virginia Tech. Keenan, who you got?
Two schools no one really cares about. Honestly, I don't even think Virginia Tech has been noticeable since Mr. Vick was there, and maybe a couple of cupcake years they've had in the past. But Minnesota's not very good at all, so I got VTech.
All right, Dad, who you got?
I've got Minnesota on this one. Golden Gophers.
All right, George.
I'm gonna pick VT.
For me, I got Minnesota. I got the Gophers as well. Not really much of a reason why. Just gonna go the Gophers. Last normal bowl game that we got to pick, the Bahamas Bowl, Buffalo versus Liberty. Keenan, who you got?
I got Liberty. Um, honestly, Liberty is very shocking to me. I don't know how they're decently good at football, but here we are.
Wacky school,
Finish
man.
off.
It's a wacky school.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
Finished off 8-3. So yeah, I got the Liberty Flames.
All right, Dad, who you got?
I got Liberty. You can't go against like wacky Bible thumpers, man. So I'm picking them.
All right, George.
I'm gonna go with Liberty.
I wanted to go against Buffalo in this one, but I couldn't. I got Buffalo in this game. No big reason why besides Caden Salter, quarterback for Liberty, will not be in the game because he is in the transfer portal. Should be one of the higher sought after transfer quarterbacks in the portal this season. So keep an eye out for his name. But because of that, I got Buffalo winning that game. All right, so that wraps up all of the normal bowl games. So let's head into the college football playoff bowl games. They all start on December 20th, which is coming up very quickly, and it's going to be very exciting. And we'll start off with the first one on the 20th, which happens to be one game. The other 3 games will be on the 21st. So first round of the CFPs, number 10, Indiana versus number 7, Notre Dame. Notre Dame hosting this one. Keenan, who you got?
This one's kind of tough. Honestly, as a Georgia fan, we don't care. We do not care. But I do think for this matchup, I do think Notre Dame pulls it off, not by a lot. I do like what the Hoosiers are doing as of late, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Either way, whoever gets through to Georgia will not make it past Georgia. Therefore, it does not really matter. But I do have Notre Dame.
All right, Dad, who you got?
All right, this is the battle of the state of Indiana, right? There's no way Notre Dame's gonna lose to Indiana University. Talk about
Basketball
a
school.
non-football school. And they don't lose to the little brother at Purdue. There's no way they're losing to the little brother out of Bloomington. So Notre Dame.
George, who you got?
I got Notre Dame. They're gonna be at home. Fans are gonna be electric. Notre Dame's gonna come through with a win here.
So if you guys are on audio, check out the YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys listening, but obviously we see a lot of cool graphics, all of our reactions to picks, body language, all that fun stuff. So go check that out. If you guys are on audio, I am wearing an IU jacket. Found it at Ross. Very comfortable sweatshirt. Very nice. But doesn't mean that I like IU. Doesn't mean I'm going to pick IU in this one. There's no way I'm going against the Fighting Irish at home with a game on the line, winner take all to go to the Sugar Bowl. I got the Fighting Irish. I don't think there's any chance that IU wins this game. I don't even think IU should be in the playoffs. I think they're in the playoffs because of their record. I do not think they're all that great. So I think the Irish take care of business, squash the season for IU. Still a really good season for Indiana, but there's no way they make it past Notre Dame. And if they do, hats off. I will own up to it. But until that happens, I am not going to go with Indiana. All right, rolling into the next game. Number 11, SMU visits number 6, Penn State. That is over in Penn State. It's going to be a whiteout, but it's going to be an early kickoff, 9 a.m. West Coast time, 12 o'clock local time. So it's going to be an odd little whiteout. Kind of wish it was at night if it was going to be that case. But regardless, what are going to be our picks, boys? We'll start off with Keenan.
For that reason, I do. First off, I'm gonna say Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State. I'll put them in the same bucket as being crazily overhyped. I don't see the hype behind them. They don't play very, very good schools throughout the year. And no matter how well they are in the year, they get to an SEC school and shit the bed. So I got SMU, played a really, really close, tough game against Clemson last week. Amazing last drive. So yeah, I got them over the Shitney Lions.
All right, Dad, who you got?
The way SMU was playing, it's hard not to pick them, right? But beginning of the year, I said Penn State was going to be better than everyone thought. Here they are. You gave me a bunch of crap for picking them.
I still do. I'll wait till my pick, but I still
Here
do.
they are in the playoffs. Chance to get into into a New Year's Day bowl. I'm just gonna stick with Penn State, and I picked them in the beginning. I might as well stick with them.
George.
Come pick with the pick the Stangs here. Picking SMU. Penn State gonna shit themselves. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So big game for Penn State coming off a loss against Oregon, which actually should not have been that close. Offense was very impressive. Drew Adler looked really good in that game. Run game, over 250 yards between the two running backs and Allard himself. Really good run game. Will they be able to keep that up against SMU? Obviously, we're not going to know. I personally do not think that's going to be the case. I think SMU goes into University Park, Pennsylvania, and gets the upset win. I said it earlier. If you guys did not check out the previous 2 episodes, I talked about the college football playoffs. I gave out a lengthy reason why I do not think Penn State should be here. They should not be at 6, let alone in the playoffs altogether. I think they're frauds. I think SMU is.
Whoa. Wait, what about number 44? How are they going to stop that tight end?
Oh my God. You don't even know his name.
I don't, but I know he gets like 20 catches a game.
The tight end. I'm not even sure what his name is, but he's just a big tight end, number 44 for Penn State. I'll pop his name right there for you guys. But yeah, I think the state of Texas is going to be very impressed by SMU, and they're going to have to watch out for the Mustangs, because I think the Mustangs get a win here. They're going to potentially be that double-digit seed that I mentioned earlier that I think is going to make it to the semifinals. So could that be SMU? It very well could be, especially with the path that they have. Penn State, overrated. James Franklin has not beat a top 5 school in his history. 0-12 against top 5 schools. So if he does make it past this, obviously not a top 5 school, but that next game is going to be a very tough game against Boise State. So I do not think Penn State makes it past here. They get overhyped. They're not going to be able to take care of business in a big game. SMU, Kevin Jennings, move on to the Fiesta Bowl. All right, next game, number 12, Clemson versus number 5, Texas. Keenan, who you got?
I think this is going to be a very, very closer game than people think. As a horns downer person, I hate to pick them, but I do think they will get it out home field against Clemson. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think people are sleeping on Clemson.
Put them up.
Hell no. Hell no. I'll still put them down. Still put them down.
Put them up. Dad, take that helmet off the wall. Take that helmet off the wall. Horns up. It's up there somewhere.
Hell no. Horns down. Forever horns down. Wanted to go there so bad. So glad it didn't.
Hey, look at that. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty. That burnt orange.
Turn it upside down. Turn it upside down.
All right, Dad, who's your pick?
You know what? I agree with Keenan. It's going to be a close game. Clemson's playing well. Texas not so good. I think they're going to have to make that change at quarterback. It might happen during this game here. Ewers isn't as good as he has been in the past. I think they need to change it over to Manning. Give him that chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the future for them. So it might happen in this game. And if it does, I think Texas is going to win.
All right, George.
Give me Clemson squeaking one out again. Horns the fuck down.
Damn, Coach Dabo definitely gonna put a name on not using NIL money.
Go Dabo, go Dabo,
go
Dabo, go.
No transfers, no big NIL deals for old school mindset Coach Dabo there if he does get that win. But for me, I got Texas. They open up as 11-point favorite against Clemson. I think that's very high and very generous. I know they're at home, but I do not think I just do not think Clemson has enough to get to the next step. If they make it past Texas, by all means, they're on a hot streak. You got to ride with the hot team sometimes, especially in a playoff match when the winner takes all. Anything can happen. Kind of like the March Madness tournament. If you're the hot team going into the tournament, usually you have a couple big wins in you. Could Clemson be that team? I don't know. I personally do not think that will be the case, but I would not be surprised to see it happen. I got the Longhorns. It's the last game we're going to see Bevo on the sidelines. I think they're going to win it for Bevo. I got burnt orange and white for that game. The last first round of the college football playoffs, number 9, Tennessee versus number 8, Ohio State. Keenan, who you got?
Ohio State's play like the way they played against Michigan. This will not be a good game, and I think Tennessee will get away with it. Honestly, this is probably the most exciting first round game. This or the Clemson game. It's just going to be.
And my AirPod died. I don't think that they being Ohio State will win by a lot. If they win, to be honest with you, but I'm very hard. I think I'm going to take Tennessee though.
All right, Dad.
Well, shift there, huh? I think Day needs to win this game and needs to win it pretty big. I think Ohio State's. I think they'll recover from that loss against Michigan. I have Ohio State.
All right, George.
Give me a Rocky Top.
Oh, Tennessee.
All right. As I mentioned earlier on a different episode, go check out that episode 136. I talked about all the seeding and the brackets where I think everybody should be and where I think they landed is a good spot or not. I mentioned these two teams as being a kind of a coin flip. I think either team could have hosted this game. I think it could have been 8 or 9 seed for either side. Obviously, as Ohio State fan, I'm happy Ohio State got the game. But somebody mentioned this on ESPN. It might not be the best case for Ohio State. If Ohio State loses that game, obviously I think Ryan Day's gone, but that home crowd is not going to be happy with Ohio State. It could be a very ugly game if Tennessee's able to take care of business there. So I think having that road game could have been a better option for them. Obviously it would have been hard winning in Knoxville, but I think Ohio State gets it done at home. It's going to be close. It's going to be very nerve-wracking for Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, but I think it's going to be a very close game. but I got the Buckeyes moving on to the next round. All right, so that ends the first round of playoffs. Then we head into second round of playoffs where all the bye teams will face off against the previous winners in an actual bowl game. So we're going to start off with the Fiesta Bowl. That is going to be on December 31st, 4:30 Pacific time. This is the winner of SMU and Penn State versus the third-ranked seed Boise State. So Keenan, mention who you got in the previous game and then also your pick for this game as well.
So I had SMU getting it over the Shitney Lions, and I do think that that no one has had an answer for Mr. Genty, the Heisman hopeful and probably Heisman winner. Actually, no, I can't say that, but the Heisman hopeful. So I do think Mr. Genty will get it done against SMU's defense.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I had Penn State the first game, but I don't think it's one of those things you want that little guy to win, and Boise State is that little guy right now. I'm picking Boise State over Penn State. Yeah, Genty is really good running back. I'm not sure if Penn State could, they stack the line. They can pass it a little bit, so I got Boise State.
All right, George.
I got the blue turf horsies, bro.
All right, for me, it would be SMU versus Boise State. I think Boise State is very happy to be here. They're very lucky to be a 3 seed based off of how all the championship games ended and conferences beating up on each other. They took care of business, though. I will respect that. They took care of business in the Mountain West. They played a pretty decent out of conference scheduling. I do not like bringing up the fact that they only lost by 1 score against Oregon. That Oregon team was not the same Oregon team. If these two teams face up against each other again, I do not see it being a 1-score game near the end of that game. So with that being said, I got the SMU Mustangs. If they're going to get past Penn State on the road, I think this neutral field against Boise State is going to be fine for them. I do not think they're going to have any problems. So I got SMU running to the semifinals. And yes, that is my double-digit seed going into the semifinals. I know I did tease that a little bit earlier, but I do think that is a very big likelihood if they get past Penn State. So I got SMU running past them. We move to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. This is the winner from Clemson and Texas. They'll face up against number 4 seeded Arizona State. Keenan, make the right choice. Who you got?
So I had Texas beating Clemson, and to be honest, everyone's been saying like, oh, like Texas is going to go all the way. You can't rule out ASU right now. They are incredibly, insanely hot. They are beating teams they should not be beating by scores they shouldn't be beating them by. For that reason, the Cinderella story is very well happening, and Mr. Scatterbo will run over Texas's defense as they have not had they had no run defense against Georgia, who doesn't even have an insane run offense, and this old school smash mouth football that ASU runs will destroy Texas. And I think it will be similarly close. I'm thinking maybe a point spread of like 10 points, but I think ASU gets it down.
All right, Forks up, baby. That's 1 pick for ASU. Dad, who you got? Pick the right choice.
2 picks for ASU. There's no way I can't pick against the Devils here. So yes. Like I said before, Texas is a little conflicted on who they should be at quarterback. I don't think that's a very strong position for them. I think ASU, they're playing the best football right now. They, one of the best teams in all college right now, coming in hot. You can't, and it's hard to go against that. I have the Devils winning.
All right, George, what do you got?
It's pretty obvious who I'm going to go with. I got ASU. Look who we have behind our quarterback. Look who we have behind quarterback. Look at that tank. He's just gonna run through anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. He's gonna lower the shoulder, run you over, and go all the way to the house. Give me ASU. Cinderella story is gonna keep going here.
For me, it would be Texas versus Arizona State. I mean, come on. How can I not choose Arizona State? I got ASU hanging in the background. I bleed maroon and gold. We have been disrespected all season long. ESPN had a segment earlier this week talking about Cinderella stories, best run, best chances to make the playoffs. They had Arizona State at the very bottom, and they didn't even use the right logo. They used fucking U of A's logo. Excuse my language. But I was like, that is the ultimate disrespect. Nobody cares about us. At this point, who cares? We don't want the respect. We've gotten this far without ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS talking about us. Let's get another step further. Let's beat up a big powerhouse in the Texas Longhorns, who everybody thinks is the one of the top teams in this playoffs, potentially has the best chance, the easiest path to the finals, or at least the semifinals compared to everybody else. Let's prove them wrong. Cam Scatterboo should be going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Obviously was not announced as that, but the man with the biggest cranium in college football is going to run through a couple of Longhorns, probably put them on their ass, put them in a medical tent, because Arizona State is moving on to the next round for me. So that's a clean sweep for ASU. Super excited for that game. You boys actually going to have boots on the ground. You guys are going to that game, correct?
Yes, sir.
ASU in our city, of course, we gotta go, man.
Come on, man. Like we said in the previous episode, A-Town, we stay down. We will be there.
Love it. Love it. You guys are going to have a blast. It's going to be an awesome game. Regardless of what happens, it's going to be fun so you guys are going to be, you guys are going to enjoy that game big time for sure.
Yeah, great atmosphere. Should be a great atmosphere over there.
All right, let's move on to the Rose Bowl, where the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee has to face up against the number 1 seeded Oregon. Keenan, who you got?
Oregon's been very good. I honestly haven't been too sold on Oregon, but they did prove me wrong. Last week they played a very offensive loaded game. Honestly, I do think it is their defense is okay. I just think they score way more than the other team, and the other team cannot keep up. So I do have Oregon going past. I think I picked Ohio State. No, I picked Tennessee. So I do have Oregon going past Tennessee and making it to the semis to face off against ASU. Yes, that's my choice.
All right, Dad, what you got?
So I have Ohio State versus Oregon. I've got Oregon winning. I got Oregon beating them again, right? They beat them early on in the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna beat them twice this year.
Win. Yeah, that was back in Eugene, I think like week 5 or 6. It was earlier on the season, but it was still everyone kind of knew who.
Yeah, I mean, this is the classic Big Ten, Pac-12 champion or matchup in the Rose Bowl. But I've got Oregon winning it.
All right. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's a classic Pac-12, Big Ten teams right here. All right, George, who you got?
I gotta go with the Ducks. It's just they have a stacked team all around. It's just Oregon. They play their brand of football, so I just gotta pick them.
For me, it would be Ohio State versus Oregon. I want to choose Ohio State so bad, but the loss against Michigan kind of scares me for this team. Is it a reflection of what this team's going to be moving forward? I hope not. But it's hard to not choose Oregon. Oregon's undefeated. They're the only undefeated team in the FBS level right now. This team looks really good. They've already beat Ohio State once. There is that old saying, it's hard to beat the same team twice in one season. I think Oregon finds a way.
Unless you're a dog.
I think Ohio State is not going to be able to figure it out. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a blowout. I think the Ducks move past the Rose Bowl with no problem whatsoever. All right, the last bowl game, it's the Sugar Bowl, which is Georgia. They have to face up against the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame. Keenan, who you got?
Honestly, the way Georgia, I know they've had a very up and down season. And one thing we haven't talked about too is Mr. Carson Beck going down, which, to be fair, I think is probably the turning point for the Georgia Bulldogs and the biggest upbringing for the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't think Carson Beck was anything that he was last year, and Gunnar Stockton, aka S.M. Bennett Jr., has a lot to prove, and I think he will get it done against Notre Dame.
Did they attach his head back on? He lost his head.
Yeah.
Championship.
Yeah.
And no
targeting
call. What was that?
That's not targeting. That's not
targeting.
That
was a great hit.
That was a clean hit. That was just as clean as Shamari Simmons on Rocco Beck. Those are two hard hits. Two
I
hard
guess Trevor
hits.
Lawrence's hit was clean too, because they all look the same.
No, that was not. That was not.
Anyways, though, I do have Georgia going all the way, even beating Mr. Genty in the semis and making it to the championship, the last dance.
Wow. All right. So you gave us two picks there. Little
I did give you two picks.
Give me two picks there. All right, Dad, who you
1-2
got?
punch.
I mean, Georgia losing their quarterback is going to be tough for them. I mean, they do like. You don't think so?
I don't. Carson Beck is the team, the thing holding Georgia from what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
He threw. We lost to Alabama by 1 touchdown, and he threw 3 picks
You
in that
lost
one
to a
game.
few teams.
Yeah, and let's not talk about Ole Miss. That was a bad game. Oh, we only lost 2, right? 2 games. Yeah, it was Ole Miss and Alabama. Alabama, we should have won. Amazing comeback, and then Ole Miss was just a shit show. So I'll say we're a 1-loss team right now.
Oh shit.
Who was the feeder game into this one?
Who's the what?
What's the feeder game into this one?
It's Notre Dame, Indiana.
Oh, Notre Dame. See, and Notre Dame's good all year, and then they lose when it matters, and they just can't.
Mhm.
They can't win on New Year's Day. They can't win in the playoffs. So I've got Georgia just for that reason. I don't think they're much better than Notre Dame, but Notre Dame seems to fall apart more at the very end of the season. So I got Georgia.
Based off your history knowledge there, just like the LSU pick. So nice job, Dad.
What are you
George.
talking about?
What?
I've actually been
What
to
do
a
you
game in
mean?
Notre Dame. Come on.
Okay, so does that give you an upper hand on knowing exactly what Notre Dame's gonna
It
do?
does. It does. I've seen him in person.
Okay.
That's the eye test.
What does Mom think about that trip? Does she
Oh.
will she pass that eye
No,
test
watched
too?
it from the van.
All right, George, who you got?
You and the dogs, bro. What? Like,
It's a formality. I already knew it was gonna happen.
give me the dogs, bro. What are we talking about here, man? Give me the dogs going all the way, as a matter of fact.
You would have them beating Notre Dame, correct? Just for the record. All right,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. For me, I would have Notre Dame versus Georgia. And we have mentioned already UCL injury to Carson Beck. I said it earlier before that was announced that this is eerily similar to the Brock Purdy injury in the playoffs from 2 years ago. He needed Tommy John surgery. He missed a lot of time. I think that's gonna be the outcome for Carson Beck. I think he's gonna have surgery on that arm. I think it's gonna probably be Tommy John. So I don't expect him to be ready for the season at all. Obviously, they have not announced that he's out for the rest of the year. I think realistically, he's done for the season. So Gunnar Stockton, next guy up. What did he do? 71 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and got killed in the overtime in that second half against Texas. Is that enough to really kind of say he's going to be the next guy up for Georgia? Personally, I don't think so. If Notre Dame's going to win the first game, Notre Dame's going to win the second game. I'm going against history. I know history says do not pick Notre Dame in games like this, but I'm going with the Fighting Irish. I'm sorry, boys. I know you guys are pissed at me. Look at them. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I'm not pissed because when has Notre Dame ever won a game when it mattered? I'll wait. Okay, then. Since Manti Te'o was there, they ain't been shit.
And they lost that big game. What? They went to the title game with him too.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. History is not on their side. History's not on their side, but if they made it that far, I think they have actually a good chance against Georgia because of the quarterback situation there. So I think Notre Dame squeaks out though. I think it's going to be coming down to like potentially last possession, but then squeak out a win there. All right, then we head to the Orange Bowl, which is the first semifinals that will be on January 9th at 4:30 p.m. That's the winner of the Fiesta Bowl versus the winner of the Sugar Bowl. So, Keenan, you already had Georgia versus Boise State, and you already gave us our pick for that one. You said Georgia was moving on. So we'll move on to Dad. Who's your pick for that game?
Which game are we talking about here?
The Orange Bowl. So that's the feeder game of Fiesta and Sugar.
Fiesta and the Sugar Bowl.
So it would be
okay. I'm gonna. You know what? I want Boise State. I want to see that underdog Cinderella team make it through.
So you got Boise State over
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
Yes.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, George, those eyes are big. What's your pick for that one? Yeah, again, it was a formality. We already kind of figured you were going to pick that. He's got the dogs in that game. For me, I don't even have the dogs in this game. I got SMU versus Notre Dame. Can SMU have that Cinderella run? They've already beaten two teams that they shouldn't have at that point. Notre Dame, if they get to that point, they're already beating history. They've already won two big games, which is not normal for them. What does that mean going into this match? I think the Fighting Irish will get it done. They move past the semifinals somehow as, what are they, the 7th seed in this playoff bracket. So I think they move on. It's a long shot. I
You
know.
think it's 1988 again or what?
That's what I'm saying.
Shout out Lou
Well, you got
Holtz.
Rudiger there or something?
Lou Holtz.
Shout out Coach Lou Holtz. But I mean, maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna say maybe it's gonna be a lot of fun if we do see these two teams in there. And if it's gonna be these two teams, Notre Dame should win over SMU. So we move on though. Cotton Bowl. This is the feeder of the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl. Keenan, I think you got Oregon versus ASU, right?
Yes, I do.
I think we all honestly got that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Yep.
I can't rule out my ASU because I feel like if we make it this far, then shit, anything is possible. I'm not gonna lie. And I do think we can go band for band, bar for bar with Oregon. I think whoever wins this game, it's going to be by 3 points within the last a game-winning drive. So honestly, I'm gonna put a big question mark on this one. I'm not gonna rule out my boys, but I don't want to give it to Mr. Dylan Gabriel. So I'm going to say that it's going to be a shit. We got to find out.
No, you gotta make a pick.
You got to make it. Okay, I'll make a pick. I'll take.
It's killing them. Do you want to move on to the next? We'll give you some time to think about it.
It's I'm gonna take Oregon. I'll take Oregon. But I do think it's gonna be the spread can't be more than 1.5. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be very, very close.
Okay. All right, Dad. Who's your pick?
All right. I love the Sun Devils. You know that. Hey, Sun Devil forever. But I don't know. I mean, they historically they have played Oregon tough, but usually at home. Oregon doesn't travel well to Arizona. This isn't in Arizona. Oregon's been playing well this year. Only undefeated team. They'll be what 12-0 when this one happens here. So I want to pick ASU, but that's not picking with my head. It's picking with your heart kind of deal. I think Oregon's probably going to edge them out on this one. So the run will stop for ASU. Not that it's still a great season. You'll go from picking dead last in the conference to winning the conference, getting a national championship, getting that bye. I think their run ends here against Oregon, but it's going to be a heck of a run.
Great Cinderella story. I agree.
George, what's your pick?
I think ASU can squeak it out with Oregon if that happens.
Oh wow! Okay,
there you go.
Just
let them fly.
Straight to the point. I love it.
Let them fly.
So for me, same teams as well. We kind of already mentioned it. ASU, if they get to that point, it's already being spoiled at that point. I mean, we're not even supposed to be in the playoffs. We're not even supposed to be contenders for the top of the conference. I said earlier on this podcast that I think ASU was going to get into the season and probably have 5 wins. 6 wins would be lucky, and really
I said 3.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, I mean, nobody really expected this team to even get to the point where they are now, where they're going to be a potential double-digit win team now. 11, 12 wins potentially for this team. And if that is the case, ASU fans have been spoiled, and a win or a loss in the semifinal does not dictate what's going to happen in the rest of ASU history with Kenny Dillingham. This guy is the real deal. I think he's going to bring a lot of big names to Arizona State in the future. And I just think this is the beginning. This is a big stepping stone in his career for Arizona State football, for ASU athletics as a whole. I mean, the whole athletic department is killing it right now. Hockey is ranked right now. ASU basketball's 8-1 for the men's side. Women's side, got to get it going. But baseball looks good. Softball looks good.
ASU volleyball just won the Big 12 championship.
Volleyball's
did.
killing it. They made the tournament for the NCAA. So athletics is booming right now for Arizona State. I think football was just the cherry on top for the season because if football's not doing good, usually the athletics just in general it goes down. But they killed it this season. So I think ASU has a lot of pride on their hands going into this game, and I think a loss against Oregon would not be the worst outcome. Obviously, I'm going to root hard for Arizona State, but got to pick with my head on this one, and I think Oregon is the right choice. I think Oregon moves on, but I think ASU has a lot to be happy with. All right, national championship game, Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl feeders. Keenan, who you got?
I got the Dogs. I think they finally get back in the championship. Yeah, not really much to say there. Again, I don't think Oregon would be able to get past a real SEC powerhouse, and I'm gonna take my Dogs.
All right, Dad.
Man, we spent all that time talking about picking with your head and not your heart, Keenan. And if Oregon was playing a powerhouse from the SEC, then maybe, they'd lose. But I've got Oregon.
Oh,
So
shit.
who's the SEC powerhouse then?
I don't.
Ole
It's
Miss.
gotta be.
Ole Miss.
No.
Ole Miss and Kiffin.
Come on, Ole Miss.
Oh man, great pick though. All right, George, excuse me.
I don't know. Hard. It's a
Because
hard
you got
decision.
ASU versus Georgia.
Yeah,
right?
so it's like either way I win.
But what would make you happier?
Hold on.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Pick it with
nice.
your heart. Pick it
We
with your
beat-
heart.
I'm telling you, if listen, if ASU wins a natty, Tempe is going to be absolutely lit. Everyone's gonna be flooding the streets, partying, jumping on light poles. We're gonna be having a party, bro.
Oof.
Agreed.
Activate the valley, or what they
Activate the valley, baby.
Yes.
It's already activated.
Yes.
We're gonna take that shit down.
All right, picking ASU for George. I love it. For me, it would be Oregon versus Notre Dame in the finals. At that point, how does Oregon
Gotta
not
take
go
Oregon.
16-0 for the championship game? But at the other side, how does the Irish make it this far? If they make it this far, they're beating all odds against them. I got the Fighting Irish ending the perfect season for the Oregon Ducks. Yes, I think it's a
Notre
long
Dame?
shot.
What?
I think it's a longer
He's
shot than
smoking.
having ASU
He's
win the
bringing
national
it.
championship. But I think if they're going to get this far, they're going to make it to the semifinals. I think they make it past that, and I think they make it to the championship game. If they make it to the championship game, I don't think anybody's stopping the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. So I think South Bend is getting another national championship. Lou Holtz will be screaming with the last few breaths he has there. But I think the Irish get it done.
That's a hell of a pick there, buddy.
I wanted to pick Oregon, but
Interesting
like
pick.
they gotta lose at some point. You can't go 16-0, right? In one season, can you really go 16-0? I mean, not even like NFL teams go
Yeah.
16-0.
Miami Dolphins did it.
Yeah, in what, 1970 or something?
That's
Yeah.
the last time Notre Dame was relevant, too.
All right, guys. Well, that will do it for bowl picks. We picked every single bowl game, every college football playoff game. Any final comments from you guys?
Real quick, I do have Mr. Travis Hunter winning the Heisman and going #1 overall in this draft. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
Agreed.
Okay.
I think the Duck had it right. Snaps aren't a stat. I don't know. He's the best player coming out.
I think Gentry wins the Heisman, but I do see Travis Hunter being a top 10, maybe even top 5 pick in an NFL draft. I do agree with that for sure. All right, guys, that will do it for us. Thank you guys for listening. Episode 138 in the books. Appreciate you guys joining me for this one. Appreciate you guys listening to this far. Hopefully you guys don't bash us too hard in the comments. It's all for fun. Hopefully you guys take away something from this, whether it's knowledge, enjoyment, or just realize how dumb we are on some of these picks. But when ASU starts winning, we're going to be the ones laughing. You guys will not. So Hopefully you guys have an awesome weekend. Have an awesome Bowl Mania. Enjoy the college football playoffs, and we'll see you guys later.